Assalamu alaikum. Thanks for watching us on Channel 347. It's Hilaal Live. My name's Luqman Shadrack. In studio, I've got two guests. We're discussing a very important topic of bullying. And Sister Gakeemah has worked on very many projects with teens. And from Cape Mental Health, we've got Mastura, who's also given us valuable advice around such an important topic. I'm learning so much as well. Gakeemah, before the break, Sister Mastura mentioned about social media and how that plays an impact as well. But
just a bit concerned as well as a parent. Obviously, like I said and like I mentioned, life is life for many of us. We tend to overlook the cyberbullying and also social media being so, by a touch of a button where your child can basically just open up the phone. What can or how can we assist our teenagers when it comes to that? And also just dwell into the fact that cyberbullying is real and how can we assist them?
Oh, absolutely. I think I was listening to somebody speak on the radio talking about how you become victim of cyberbullying. And they were doing some research at Stellenbosch University, and they were saying that if you have this personality that's like a people pleaser personality, you're easy, you're kind of a target for cyberbullying.
That's
so
a very
if you're
interesting
impressionable,
statement.
yeah.
Okay, so that opens up a whole new avenue as well. So you've got your social media, your cyberbullying. What are the other types of bullying that you're currently dealing with?
Okay, so there is obviously the physical bullying, where the physical act is being done to the person to impose physical harm. And I think usually when the bully does this, when somebody is doing this, I think they want to exert power over the person, so that they can feel helpless and powerless, and obviously intimidate and threaten them.
Yes.
And then we've got social bullying as well. Social bullying is where where this person purposely excludes the person or a group of people. He or she will actually go to the friends and say, unfriend this one. She's so uncool.
Gotcha.
Unfriend. And
or not get invited to social events.
Absolutely. And so obviously those will bring up, feelings of rejection, feelings of I'm not worthy enough, I'm not good enough, and that really, really affects the person's esteem.
But I mean, to a large extent, and I think you probably can agree with this, is that our teenagers are resilient. We've got a lot going for us. Sometimes stronger than we give them credit for as well. However, with this creeping in, it may just, shatter their ego for a little while, but I'm sure they bounce back quite easily.
I would also think that.
I think that we need to kind of remember what the word resilience means, and it's the ability to kind of handle something psychologically if you are in a stressful situation or environment, in adversity. So I think that if a teenager is struggling with bullying specifically, it's ongoing, like I mentioned previously. So it's ongoing. So psychologically, it's breaking them down, And so we as parents, we shouldn't take for granted that they are resilient. We should always check in, like I said previously, become involved, talk about how to deal with these situations.
Gotcha.
And I think start when they are in foundation level. Before my daughter started school, I gave her these scenarios. What would you do if somebody doesn't play with you? What would you do if somebody says, come, let's do this, and it's wrong? Start there already, start teaching them about these things, because these are the situations that they are going to be faced with.
Yes, and we're not there to protect them at the same time,
What I find difficult is also growing up in a normal Muslim home and going back to our age, obviously. A lot of these things will never open up. Like that door was shut completely and we couldn't really speak about these things. But now obviously there's a lot of help, and for example, Cape Mental Health doing some external work, going to schools, educating our teenagers, which is exactly what is needed on schools. But also the vital role comes from the parent and having to get the parent involved to check in with your teenager, not just, are you okay, are you breathing? So also we tend to shy away from these type of topics. But my main concern is I'm asking how to relate to the bully and wanting help. But what if my child is actually the bully? How do I deal with that?
Interesting question.
It is. Okay. So I think that when somebody bullies, there are underlying issues.
Yeah.
You know, it's deep rooted.
Sure.
You know, somebody doesn't just bully with the intent to do harm.
Yeah.
You know, so I think there's lots of underlying issues. So those things need to be dealt with. So if I was the parent, I'll use me as an example. If I was the parent of somebody that is a bully, there'd be appropriate consequences. And I say appropriate because sometimes parents will say, "Oh, I'll take your phone away," you know, and I'll take your phone away for a day, you know. Yeah, you know, you need to understand what the consequence is, why, you know, attach it to the behavior.
Okay.
And then I think I'll talk about that. We talk about how do you think you would feel if that happens to you. And in most cases, the person who is a bully was bullied.
Okay. So they say hurt people hurt people.
Yeah.
Something like that. There's a phrase. Getting to the underlying root of the problem, though, that's always first prize, is finding out why he or she has become a bully, dealing with that. Because, you know, we're all so caught up in going to work and just worrying about providing for our family that the emotional needs sometimes gets put on the back burner when it comes to our kids. Do you find that happening a lot?
Oh, so many times. So we deal with clients who has a lived experience of intellectual disability or a lived experience of psychosocial disability.
Okay.
So sometimes when the children, let's talk about children, when the children are having behavioral problems, like they call it these days, then we would, you know, parents would come and say, oh, you know, or the teachers would approach us and say, you know, we're having trouble with courses, you know, doing this and that. Often it's sometimes got to do with learning.
Okay.
They're struggling with learning.
And they're using this as an outlet.
Absolutely. Focus, concentration. Or sometimes there's just too many things that's happening within the family that's changing. People, we don't like changes.
Of course.
Even it's harder for kids, you know, and we just, like I said before, we just accept that they're resilient, they'll bounce back, you know, it's part of life, change is life, you know, change is part of life. But we need to discuss that with them. You know, if there's a new baby coming, if there's a grandma or grandpa who passed away, if there's a relocation, you know, these things need to be discussed with them. You know, how do you feel about this? You know, and it's always great to talk about it first. You could say, I feel so sad, you know, that the grandma's not there, you know, but you know what I do remember, you know, then it makes me happy when I remember this and this and that. So they can know that parents also go through that. They also have emotions that they're dealing with that's also overwhelming. And obviously then hopefully they'll be eager to share.
Often enough, you find that in this entire process of either a child being bullied or being the bully, there's a ripple effect in the family structure. For example, siblings, mom, dad, sometimes doesn't know how to deal with it, and they compensate by rewarding them with fancy phones and, you know, things like that, which could then, you know, really not exacerbate the situation more than anything. How do parents handle this? How do handle the family structure? You know, how do they cope? What type of mechanisms should they put in place? Should they find themselves in this position?
I think that I'm going to sound a bit biased here, but just call us.
Okay.
You know, just call Cape Mental Health for some help, you know. Call Cape Mental Health, and we do help with supporting, you know, so we can help with supporting. Call Cape Mental Health and call there's parent centers.
Gotcha.
You know, there are parent center programs, there's support groups, you know. We can assist with finding that. We can assist with the behavioral challenges, you know, can teach them some skills or techniques how to cope with their child that's having behavior that are challenging.
Often at times also with that comes your marriages that, for example, you are married at a young age, and we tend to shy away, not want to talk about it. But like she's saying, get onto that phone and make that call and get somebody to assist, because I mean, if we could get somebody to help us, especially Cape Mental Health and especially parent centers and all of those things, why not just open up and say, listen, I do have a problem.
That's the first step. That's the first step, identifying the problem and acknowledging that you have a problem, asking for help. That's where the help starts, right? Sister Mastura, how do we get hold of Cape Mental Health? Do you want to give some numbers out? Or
Okay, sure.
details that our audience can maybe get hold of you?
Okay, so you can contact us on the telephone 021 447 9040. We are on most of the social media apps.
Okay.
So we're on Facebook, at Cape Mental Health, Instagram, or you can go to our website, www.capementalhealth.co.za. We've got a
Brilliant.
lovely website.
Okay.
And there's a lot of information over there. And our services are free, by the way.
Brilliant.
And like I said, we work with persons with intellectual disability and psychosocial disability. And I think psychosocial disability, we call it psychosocial disability because it's not that it's big. You know, it's not that only schizophrenia or bipolar.
Gotcha.
You know, it's persons with depression or anxiety or symptoms of anxiety or symptoms of depression.
Yeah.
People going through a divorce that's struggling to cope.
Right. So there are facets that one needs to identify.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for coming into studio, Sister Mastura, Sister Gakeemah. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thanks so much for shedding some light on a very important topic. And we're going to cover some more topics as the weeks unfold as well, inshallah. Have a great evening. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa
Wa
alaikum
alaikum
salam.
salam wa rahmatullah.
That's how we end Hilaal Live. We're back tomorrow between 5 and 7. Do join us for another edition of Hilaal Live. From the Cape Town team, Sohail Barnes and myself, Luqman Shadrack. Have a great evening. Assalamu alaikum.